All right, let's go. Find five, ugly five. Five best, five worst teams in the NFL. Let's start with the ugly five. Who are the five worst teams in the NFL? By the way, Find Five, Ugly Five is brought to you by Recovery Centers of America, drug and alcohol addiction treatment centers located in Mays Landing, New Jersey, and Devon, PA. All right, number five in the ugly five. Five worst. We had John Clayton on earlier. He talked about how 11 teams have either 1 or 0 wins so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 teams. It's 10 teams have 0 or 1 win. Who's the fifth worst of those groups?
I got Minnesota. I got Minnesota because the expectations coming into this thing, I'm sure that there's worse organizations structurally and things of that nature, but the expectations for the Vikings was not a one-win team at this point in the season. And you mentioned Jefferson. He came on the scene, but it's not like it's resulting in much. Earlier in the season, they were getting waxed and allowing way too many points for that defense. I got to look at the Minnesota Vikings and go, man, you guys are ugly. That's why I put them in my five.
They are my fifth team as well. Similar. Expectations were high. People thought this was going to be a good team this year. They lost to Atlanta at home last week. Holy mackerel. They're almost as bad defensively as the Cowboys are. They've given up 192. They're a minus 37. Been very disappointing for that team. I have them as number 5 in my ugly 5. Number 4.
I got the Jags. We started out in the beginning of the year talking about how they were probably going to be one all year long, but then they ended up getting that win, and Gardner Minshew's all fun. Yeah, that's starting to fall off. That excitement is starting to go different. Although you look at Sidney Jones, and he's making some defensive plays. But now the Jags, they are starting to become who we all expected them to become. I'm going with the Jags as my 4.
I got the Giants in there at number 4. They won last week. They've been hanging in there. The offense, not great. Defense isn't tremendous, but they've certainly gotten better. It's a more competitive team, but still a bad football team. They got a horrible offensive line. They don't have a whole heck of a lot of weapons. The quarterback turns the ball over a lot. They've made some strides, but they're still the 4th worst team in my mind.
Number 3 for me, I got Washington. Ron Rivera going for it. I don't even blame him for going for it. Look, you want to try and get a win. Your team kind of stinks. Like, hey, let's snag a win here. 2-point conversion. It failed. I don't mind him going for it. I know that was a pretty questionable call throughout the week. The quarterback situation is just horrendous. Dwayne Haskins, now you're going with Allen, and at one point Alex Smith had to come in. They seem to be a legit mess, and I don't know how they fix it.
I got Washington in the same spot. They played the Giants last week. They lose to the Giants.
Were you okay with him going for it for the win? Because he's getting some criticism.
No, I mean, they're Washington. Come on, they're horrible.
Yeah, I agree. You go for the win there, right? I mean, you're in a position to win with one play. Take it. Don't play for the extra
Especially in this division where if you sneak that win out, you're in first place.
Right?
I mean, come on. I mean, what's the big deal if they win or lose that game? Their defense, 162. We thought their defense might be half decent when we saw them in week 1. They've had some problems. They can't score. They've lost 5 in a row since beating the Eagles. I mean, people might say, how are they worse than the Eagles? Well, if you watch their other 5 games, they're just not competitive for the most part. The quarterback play is terrible. By the way, they're 1-5. Why would you draft a guy Haskins and then take him out for a journeyman like Allen? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's the head coach's decision.
I don't like that. I mean, I get he's trying. He saw that he had a light spot in his schedule coming up with some division games he thought were winnable, and that if they could sneak them out. But you have to find out if Haskins is anything.
Maybe they really don't think he has a chance in hell. And remember, Allen did have some experience playing with Rivera in Carolina, so maybe just based off of their connection before. I don't know. I'm not saying it's the right one. I'm just trying to think of why they did it.
You have to say, let this kid just flame and say, look, he just could not play. We tried and tried and tried. You're going to go to Kyle Allen? How many games has Haskins really played, though?
A handful.
I mean, he probably hasn't played even a full season worth of games so
no.
far.
I don't think he's even close to 16 games.
Exactly. So, to me, that's I don't like that move by the Washington football team to just say, you know what? We've already given up on this guy. We just drafted him. I get he didn't get drafted by...
He has 13 games, 11 started. So he started 11 games so far in his career.
Yeah, to me, that's a reason to be on the ugly 5 right there. You panicked already on the guy. Where did you draft him?
I think it was 16 or so in that range, I think, during that draft.
15. So the guy you took 15th overall because you thought you needed a quarterback, you've given up on already.
But he wasn't in the regime then and all. But I'm with you. It's just not the right time to do it.
I can understand if you had some guy you were excited about. You tell me that you're excited about an undrafted player in Kyle Allen? You're turning the keys to the franchise and saying, hey, let's see if Kyle Allen maybe is the guy. You know he can't play.
All right, my number 2. The Dallas Cowboys. That was miserable. And the quotes afterwards, that's really what took it over the top. Even with just the performance, it was ugly. And then add everything you're hearing about the coaching staff and not being able to teach these guys, develop these guys. They're just not prepared. Wow, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm looking at this mess and going, what do I do next? Because you gotta change a lot of things. I know the defensive coordinators, the way they're probably going to go at some point here, but it is a dumpster fire internally. The Dallas Cowboys, number 2. I should have put them number 1, but with you-know-who sitting at 1, I don't think anyone can beat them.
I can't believe I forgot to put Dallas in my ugly 5.
Wow, I took the Giants out just to put the Cowboys in. They didn't even make my ugly 5, the New York Giants.
I should have put them in at 5 ahead of Minnesota.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I definitely should. Jacksonville's number 2. That opening week win is a distant memory. They've lost 5 in a row. They're just not a very good football team. I have the Robinson kid. He hasn't done anything either for a couple of weeks. They've given up 181. They can't score. It's a bad football team. It's pretty much – I had them at number 1 to start the year. I think Jacksonville, when we started this off, yeah, they were my number 1 team in here, and they're now number 2. And we know the Jets are number 1. I got to change mine. I'm taking Minnesota out, and Dallas is going in. A team that's first place in the division, I'm putting it number 5. They're historically the worst defense I think I've ever seen in my life.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I officially scratched them out and put Dallas in at number 5.
Okay, I allow that. That is okay with me.
218 points, minus 45. Hideous football team.
Gross.
One of the ugliest 5 teams in the league. All right, fine 5.
All right.
Interested in this one.
Yeah, I got a good list here.
All right, number 5. 5th best team in the league. Ugly 5, fine 5. Who's number 5?
I have the Titans.
I do too.
I really like this team. Every single week, I think I'm getting sucked into loving them even more and more. And I know I talked about this earlier with Mike Vrabel, but that just added another element to him that I didn't really anticipate him having. That is some savviness that head coaches, when they have that added touch, that's the difference in games. And with him calling it wasn't a timeout, he was using the clock management, adding a player on the field to get a penalty to stop the clock. It was genius. That's what you need out of a head coach to push your team to the next level. I love it.
Well, I had Titans as my preseason who's in, who's out. I had them in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now they're in my fine 5. Love this Titans team. Love the running game. Love the quarterback play. I was somebody who said, I like Tannehill. Give him a shot last year. I remember getting into it with Moshe about they got to give him a shot to win the job over Mariota. And he said, no, he stinks. I said, you never even give him a shot. He was a high first-round pick.
Wow, you and Moshe going at it.
We did.
Ooh.
We fought hard about that.
Ooh.
I hope Moshe is still listening and remembers. Maybe send me a text to verify that. I told him that they shouldn't have just handed the job to Mariota. They should have had an open competition. He said, well, what has Tannehill ever done? I said, he got the freaking the Dolphins to the playoffs once.
Maybe he'll send you an apology.
I think he has apologized at one point, but it was a light one.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a Tannehill guy.
Yeah.
He was a great athlete, played wide receiver in college, then they shifted him to quarterback. I liked him coming out of the draft. I remember that year because that was Chip Kelly's first year, and there was some thoughts that the Eagles might take him at number 3. They took Lane Johnson.
Not a bad pick.
But it would have been interesting to see Tannehill run Chip Kelly's offense.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I'm not going to lie to you. I was a do-the-deal guy that year.
Oh, me too.
I was a big do-the-deal guy.
I was a fan of making the trade because the coach needs his quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
The problem with Kelly is, no, he had Vic. Vic ran his offense pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
Vic couldn't stay healthy, though. All right, who's number 4?
I have the Ravens.
As do I.
Yeah, I have the Ravens. I think it's crazy to say this because they're averaging so many points per game offensively, but it doesn't look right. That's how good they are. It doesn't look right, yet they're still scoring an obnoxious amount of points. Maybe it's Lamar Jackson with He had some sort of knee injury. He doesn't have that same pop right now. The throwing has been an issue. They're still a great football team, but, I think they've taken a little bit of some steps back as maybe I thought that they would. I have them at 4, though. They're still a great team. Defense, they have great secondary pieces.
In 6 games, they've given up 104. The Eagles have 28 of those 104. Their defense is very good.
Elite.
And I have them at number 4. There is, you're right, something that just seems a little different from the team last year. But still one of the 5 best teams in the league. There's a lot of, got a lot of good records in the league. I don't know how many of them are good teams. I had a team from my Fine 5 fall out from last week. They did lose this week. That was Green Bay. I have 3, Seattle.
Okay, I also have Green Bay slipping out of my 5. So my number 3 is Pittsburgh.
Wow.
This Pittsburgh team, look, I know what you were saying before about 8-win team last year. You add Big Ben. But when you start out the way that you do with Big Ben and you just keep rolling and you just keep winning and winning, it's all about, man, they believe in him, as they should. It has changed the identity of this team fully, and the defense is great. A different styled version of an elite defense. They have the 3-4. They bring it to you differently. They send a lot of pressure, a lot of blitz. They get in your face, which is definitely a fun watch. But this Steelers team, I did not expect them to be to this level, and I'm surprised.
I have Seattle number 3. They had the bye last week. Their defense is still a problem. Offensively, very good. And they're in the mix now for Antonio Brown. That would only add to them, but they're undefeated. Their defense is an issue, though, so they got to fix something up there. They need to, the problem is they have no pass rush, and I don't think they're going to be able to fix that. I don't see them fixing the pass rush.
Can Antonio Brown play a little defensive end?
Right? You know what's funny? You see the video of Mailata on the tackle he made?
Yes.
He blasted that guy. If the Eagles drafted him, he had no position. They just made him a left tackle and said, you're going to play defensive tackle. I think he would have dominated at defensive tackle. I think he would have taken guards and just threw them across the room.
I'm just looking right now, for example. All right, Fletcher Cox is 6'4", 310. I'm trying to pick like a 6'8", 3, you know what I mean? Like, he's a big man. He probably,
but he's fast.
I know he is. He's athletic as hell for his size.
I really wish they would have played him at D tackle.
Maybe you see that at some point.
Nah,
flip it around. Maybe he's.
You can't put your starting left tackle and play him at defensive tackle.
You cover high school football. You do play-by-play. How many guys play OND?
Yeah, in high school.
Well, that Junior Mailata is going to be the first guy in this era here.
I wouldn't mind if you put him at fullback and handed the ball. I bet you he'd score on that too. Look, that's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. When I drafted him, I would have said, we're making you a defensive tackle. Just go after the ball carrier. I don't think anybody's blocking that guy. I really don't. He's so massive and so strong and so explosive. I would have made Mailata a defensive tackle. That would have been my position. Because he had no position. It wasn't like he was like, hey, he played some left tackle in the rugby league. They don't have left tackles.
Well, you know what? They didn't make a horrendous decision by any means.
No, I mean, he's such an athlete that they said, we're going to play this guy at left tackle.
How about linebacker?
Nah.
Him next to Nate Gary. There's your 2 linebacker set.
He wouldn't be able to cover.
Yeah, you're right.
D-tackle, just go after the quarterback. That's what I would have done. Number 2, I have Pittsburgh.
Okay, so I have Seattle, so we flip-flop.
Yep, Pittsburgh, I'm not surprised. I mean, and what I like about this team, they lost Antonio Brown. They lost Martavius Bryant. They lost Mike Wallace. They lost Le'Veon Bell. And here they are, 5-0.
And I like that you brought that up because I think it's so
to those
funny.
guys is, you don't want to be here, go see if the grass is greener, and not one of them has the grass been greener.
Well, Mike Tomlin has look, I have a bunch of friends that love the Pittsburgh Steelers. Every year, oh, Mike Tomlin this, Mike Tomlin that. You guys, they scream. It's outrageous. Oh, we got to fire him, this and that. You guys don't understand. Why are you screaming about Mike Tomlin? Look at his playoff years every single year. This guy wins. The guy wins. And look at the talent on the roster. I always feel it's ridiculous because there are plenty of people out in Pittsburgh at times who are so frustrated with him, they're ready to get rid of Mike Tomlin. You have no clue. He's a hell of a coach, and you're seeing it happen pretty much every single year.
Always want the new toy.
Yeah, 8-8 with guys you never heard of playing quarterback.
They always want the new toy.
Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach.
Everybody wants the new toy. It's the way we are.
But that's one of the reasons why, to tie it to Philly, is, we got to fire Doug. Look, I get frustrated with Doug, and I'm not saying he's the answer, but there's something to be said about not turning over the head coach every single damn year. And you might stick with some guys who go through some bad spurts. Coaches go through some bad spurts. but that doesn't mean that they're horrendous coaches. I like staying with people over flipping over coaches all the time.
So the question is, are you sticking with Kansas City at number 1 or Tampa Bay, Chicago 5-1, Green Bay 4-1?
No. I saw a team who took advantage of an opportunity by running the football out. They can win in many different ways now. How about that? They can use that run game to win games. They can do it all.
I got Kansas City, but they haven't been nearly as impressive this year, I will say that.
It seems like, and you saw the failures when the Clippers did this and when the Sixers did this, but it almost feels like a get me to the playoffs for them because they know how good they are.
All right, that's our Fine 5, Ugly 5, 5 best, 5 worst.